Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the Spellbinders Winter Wonderland collection, which consists of everything that you see here. I'm also going to be making 10 cards with this collection. So all of the items that you see here are purchased individually, and I will have links to all of these items down in the description box below and on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. So this is a look at the 6x6 paper pad. There are 4 sheets of each design. So you can see that you have some reds and golds and greens. There are some blues in this collection as well. So that's a look at the paper pad. And then next we have the Christmas glitter sentiment stickers. So these stickers have various sentiments and they are in a gold glitter. So you can see there's jingle bells, deck the halls, oh what fun, happy holidays, fa la 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 la, jolly, peace and joyful, and there's also some stars mixed in there. And then there's also the gold puffy alphabet stickers, and there's 2 sheets of these. So you get one uppercase and then you also get a lowercase. Next are the die cut shapes as well as the die cut sentiments. So there are 2 different packs here. I'm going to first open up the die cut shapes. This pack consists of 116 shapes, which include snowflakes, ice skates, winter flowers, hot chocolate, and so much more. So I laid everything out here on the table so that you can see all that's included in this pack of ephemera. I love this old-fashioned car with the Christmas tree on top. There's also the old-fashioned pickup truck with the Christmas tree in the back. You can see there's some gingerbread house, there's a fireplace, there's another little house and a Christmas tree. And you also get 2 of each one of these pieces that you see here. There are a few sentiments in this pack, but not many. So the pack of sentiments has a whole bunch more sentiments, which you'll see here in a moment. So there's a stocking and a sleigh. And then moving on, here's a look at the die cut sentiments. And the die cut sentiments consist of 146 sentiments. You'll see that there are several banners and tags. So here's a look at some of the banners, and the banners, there are several in each color. So you can see that there's several of the Merry Christmases. You get a blue, a green, a red Merry Christmas. There's also Let It Snow and Season's Greetings. There's also Merry and Bright in several different colors. So those are a lot of the banners. And then there's even more there on the table, but here's a look at some of the tags. So you can use these for gift tags, or you can use these on your cards. So lots and lots of different choices here. There's also some ornaments. So here's one that says, "It's the most wonderful time of the year. Have a very Merry Christmas and enjoy the magic of the season." So again, lots and lots of sentiments to use on your cards. So now I'm going to go ahead and make 10 cards with this collection. So I have a piece of red cardstock, and that is from my stash. And I'm adding a piece of the pattern paper with the dots on it that I cut to 4 by 3.5. That's going to go towards the top of the red cardstock, and towards the bottom will be the plaid pattern paper that measures 4 by 2.25 inches. I'm going to add 2 of the tree die cut shapes as well as one of the houses to create a little scene. I also have the Merry and Bright banner. I did cut the left side so it's a straight edge. And I'm also going to include a sentiment at the bottom that says "Home for the Holidays," and I'm going to include 2 of the gingerbread men. I thought this house reminded me of a gingerbread house, so I thought it would be really cute to add those gingerbread men. So once I had everything positioned, I'll go ahead and add the trees as well as the house. I'm putting the bottom of those die cut shapes over top of the line where the 2 pieces of pattern paper meet. And I'm kind of extending the die cuts a little bit below the line in the pattern paper so that that white edge shows. I think that white edge underneath the trees and the house looks like a border of snow on those images. So it looks like the house and the trees are sitting in snow. So I go ahead and add the sentiment up at the top. I'm going to add the number 25 over the right edge. And then I also added the sentiment and the gingerbread men at the bottom. And once I have everything glued down, I will add that to an A2 size card base. All of my cards in this video today are A2 in size, which measure 4¼ by 5½ inches. For my next card, I have this Christmas floral pattern paper. I'm cut that down to 4⅛ by 5�3", and I added it to a piece of red cardstock. The red cardstock is 4¼ by 5½, and then the red with the gold pattern paper, I did cut that with a Spellbinders die, a rectangle die, but it does measure 2 7/8 by 4⅛. Now I'm going to go ahead and layer all of my die cut shapes. So I'm bringing in some of the leaves, I'm bringing in the mailbox as well as a flower and the word Mary. I'm also going to bring in an envelope and add it there towards the bottom. I add the red bird on top of the sentiment, and I also added a little green banner sentiment at the top of the pattern paper, and it says Christmas cheer on it. After I add all of those die cut shapes, I'll add this to an A2 size card base, and I'll finish this up by adding some of the Spellbinders gold gems to the front of the card. And that completes this card. So for my next card, I have this snowflake piece of pattern paper that's 4⅛ by 5�3", and I'm adding that to a piece of green cardstock from my stash. The green measures 4¼ by 5½ inches, and then I have the blue with the gold star paper, and that's 2 7/8 by 4⅛. Now I'm just going to layer up some ephemera. So I have the Christmas trees, I have the present. I'm going to use a few of the snowflakes, and I'm using a tag that says walking in a winter wonderland. I'm also using the snowman, and I'll go ahead and glue everything on the front of that card. I'm also adding another small blue sentiment that says Happy Holidays. And I love how the sentiments have the gold foiling for the words. I add that entire layer to an A2 size card base. I also tie a piece of twine into a bow and add it to the top of the tag. And that completes that card. For my next card, I have this dot pattern paper that's 5¼ by 4, and I'm adding that to a piece of red cardstock from my stash. The red is 5�3" by 4⅛, and then I'm going to add the sleigh with a present, and I'm also going to add a reindeer like it's flying in the air. And I'm going to use a sentiment from the Christmas glitter sentiment stickers, and the sentiment is going to say, "Oh, what fun." So I'll go ahead and add those stickers to the card. And that sticker sheet has some stars on it, so I'm going to add 3 stars as well. And then I'll add that entire layer to an A2 size card base, and that completes this card. For my next card, I'm going to be making a living room scene with the Christmas tree and the fireplace. So for the papers, I'm using a piece of plaid pattern paper cut to 4 by 2, and I add it to the bottom of the red and gold paper that I cut to 4 by 5¼ I have a piece of the Spellbinders gold mirror cardstock. I cut that to 4⅛ by 5�3", and I'm layering that onto a piece of red cardstock that's cut to 4¼ by 5½. I did cut the center out of the gold paper so that I can save that cardstock, and then I just added a white scrap paper right inside so that this layer, when I add the pattern paper on top, it lays flat. So here I'm going to arrange all of my die cut pieces. I have the fireplace, the Christmas tree, the rocking horse, and the present. I wanted this to look like a living room scene on Christmas morning with some presents in front of the Christmas tree. So I'll go ahead and glue down all of the ephemera pieces, and I'll add a banner sentiment at the top of the card, and the sentiment says "'Tis the season." I'm going to finish this up by adding 2 of the Spellbinders gold gems, one on the left and right side of the banner. I will add this entire layer to an A2 size card base, and this card is complete. For my next card, I have another piece of the gold mirror cardstock that I used a rectangle die to cut the center out so I can save. The gold mirror cardstock is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm adding that to an A2 size card base. I did cut with the same rectangle die that I cut the center out of the gold cardstock. I cut a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just adding that right back in so that the pattern paper lays flat on the card. So I'm adding this Christmas floral piece of pattern paper. It measures 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. I'll add that to the left side, and then on the right side I'll add the red with the gold, and that's 3 1/2 by 5 1/4 inches. I cut a 3 1/2 inch white circle from a circle die, and I'm going to add that on the card, but first I'm going to add the happy holidays. I want to go ahead and position the happy holidays so I can be sure to get it all on the bottom of the card. If I added the circle first, I might have added it too low and then I might not have room for the sentiment. So that's why I'm adding the sentiment first. After the sentiment is adhered, I go ahead and add the circle, and then I'm going to add the ice skates. I'm going to add 2 of them, and I'm also going to put some of the sprigs behind. So 2 sprigs and 2 ice skates right on top of that circle, and after those are added, I will add some Spellbinders gold gems to the circle. And that card is now complete. Moving on, I have a piece of the plaid pattern paper that's 3 7/8 by 3/4 inch, and I'm adding it to the bottom of this blue with the gold star paper, and the blue paper is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm going to add that entire layer to a piece of red cardstock from my stash, and that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I'm going to add the train die cut piece to the bottom. I thought the plaid paper kind of looked like railroad tracks, so that's why I chose to use that. I'm going to add a Christmas ornament, and it says it's the most wonderful time of the year. So I'll add that to the top left, and I'll add a holly leaf to the ornament. I'm also going to add 2 of the smaller ornaments, one in red and one in green, and I'll just stagger the heights of them. So I'll add those to the card front, and I'll go ahead and glue that train down. And then next I'm going to take a ruler and a black Sharpie, and it's a thin Sharpie, not one of the thicker ones, because I just want to draw a thin line from the top of the ornament to the top of the card to make it look like the ornaments are hanging. And I'll do that for all 3 ornaments. Then I will add that entire layer to an A2 size white card base, and that card is now complete. For my next card, I'm also using a piece of the Spellbinders gold mirror cardstock that I cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, cutting the center out again and adding a piece of white cardstock to fill that center in. I like how the pattern paper in this paper pad and a lot of the ephemera pieces have that gold foiling, and Spellbinders does that quite often. So using that gold mirror cardstock, it really brings out a lot of the gold foiling in the pattern paper as well as in those sentiment pieces. So the plaid pattern paper is 4 by 5 1/4, and then that red with the gold is 4 by 2. So I add the red at the bottom of the plaid, and then I have this other small piece of the dot paper that's 2 1/2 by 3. I also cut a scallop border. This is a scrapbook.com slim border 2 die, and I die cut that out of some gold mirror cardstock and added it across where the pattern papers meet. So I'll add the dot paper right above that scalloped border. Okay, so now I'm ready to add all the die cut pieces. I am bringing in the gingerbread house. I'm also going to be bringing in a tag with a gingerbread man, and the tag says Sweet Wishes. At the bottom portion of that card, I'm bringing in a sentiment that says Happy Holidays, and then I'm going to arrange some of the sweets down there, the hot chocolate, the candy piece, as well as the cake. I'll go ahead and glue everything down. Once everything is glued down, I will add that layer to an A2 size white card base. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just take a piece of twine from my stash, tie it in a bow, and add it to the top of the tag. And this card is now complete. For my next card, I'm going to be using the Spellbinders Tufted embossing folder. This is a 3D embossing folder and it makes a beautiful design on that red cardstock. I did cut the red cardstock to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. I have a few other strips of paper here. I have a gold strip that's 5 3/8 by 3/8 inch, and I'm adding that underneath the red with the gold paper that's 5 3/8 by 3/4 inch. And I also have this piece of plaid paper that I cut to 5 3/8 by 1 1/4. So I'll add the plaid first across the top, and then I'm going to add the red with the gold right underneath that. I did cut mine a little bit longer, so once I add it, I'll just trim off the excess that's extending there on the right hand side. I'm going to add 3 florals at the top left hand corner and 2 of the bells. I'm also going to add a sentiment. The sentiment is Jingle Bells, and that is from the Christmas glitter sentiment stickers. So I go ahead and glue everything down. I am going to adhere one of the bells flat on the card, and then the other bell is going to be popped up with some foam. Adding that embossing folder to that red cardstock is just a way to take your card making up a notch. You could have just used red cardstock without adding the embossing, but I think that embossed detail just adds so much elegance to that card. For my next card, I have a piece of blue pattern paper cut to 3 by 2, and I'm going to layer that on a piece of red cardstock that's 3 1/8 by 2 1/8. And then I have this piece of pattern paper, and I cut that to 4 by 5 1/4 and added that to a piece of red cardstock that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I also have a red and gold strip that I cut down to 3/4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to add that towards the bottom of the card, and then I will add the rectangle piece right on top of that. The die cut pieces that I'm using, I have 3 of the florals that I'm tucking in the top left hand corner. I am tucking them underneath that rectangle. And I'm also using a sentiment that says delivering cheer, and I'm going to be using that old-fashioned car with the Christmas tree on top. So the car is going to go right on top of the blue rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and add that to an A2 size card base, but I'm not finished yet because I do go back in and I add some of the alphabet stickers. These are the gold Puffy alphabet stickers that come in the uppercase and the lowercase, and I'm going to use both. I'm going to use the uppercase F for the word fa la la, and then just the lowercase letters for the rest of that. So I'm just going to add that to the bottom of the card and just make sure they are centered, and then that's going to complete the card. So once again, here are all of the cards I made using the Winter Wonderland collection. I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know which card is your favorite. If you are interested in purchasing any of the products in this collection, take a look down in the description box of this YouTube video or on my blog. There will be a coordinating blog post in the description box as well with up-close pictures, supply links, as well as card measurements. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.